What's happening, everyone? My name is Phil with PrecisionLED.com. Today we have a 2004 Lexus RX that will be installing LED interior lights on for both the interior and the trunk and the license plate. Now, this installation is compatible with year models 2003 through 2009, both the 300, 330, 350, and the 400H. Let's go and get started. For the front overhead map lights and that front dome light, there is one cover that needs to be removed. We'll be using the front portion of the serrated knife tool, the pointed end of it, to get in between the clear lens cover and the overhead console's plastic to remove it. You want to use both corners to get access and remove the corners from the housing, and then you'll be able to pull out the entire assembly without any problems. When you take a look at that cover, there are 4 points of contact that are holding it in. Just make sure you're keeping those in mind when you're removing and reinstalling. Now, the two front map overhead lights are going to be on the sides. They are BA9S type bulbs. All you need to do to remove them is to push them in, rotate them counterclockwise to remove them, and they should pop out. The new LEDs go in the exact opposite way. You push them in, turn them clockwise, and they should set into place. You'll be using any one of the tools actually that come with your kit to remove the center front dome light, and that's going to be replaced with a Festoon type LED that's provided in your kit. You do have to watch out for the polarity. If you do install it and it doesn't work, don't panic. Just go ahead, turn that bulb around 180 degrees to reverse the polarity and reinsert and try it again. Once you have the polarity reversed, that bulb should turn on. Now that we have all three bulbs installed on that front overhead console, just get that lens cover and put it back in place. You want to make sure you feel the click sound from each of the four corners of the plate to let you know that it's secure. For the vanity mirror lights, there are actually two lights per side that will be changing from halogen to LED. As you can see in this example, we've already done one side. We'll show you how to get access and do the other halogen bulb conversion. You're going to be using the fork-shaped tool along with the pointed wedge tool. On one side, you're going to use the fork-shaped tool to get in from the corner, and also use the pointed wedge tool in a center slot to remove the remaining portions of the clips that are holding it in place. As you can see in the video, we're going to slide the fork-shaped tool in as far as possible and use the pointed wedge to release the clip from the housing. Once you have access, you'll use the pointed wedge tool to help you remove that halogen bulb. There really isn't a good way to turn the bulbs off while you're doing the installation, so you don't want to touch the bulb because it will be hot. Once you have that LED bulb in, just make sure it does work, and you can then go ahead and put the lens cover back in place. You will need to use a decent amount of pressure on that lens cover to push it in, and make sure you hear the click or the snap sounds to let you know that it is secure. Now that everything's good to go, you can move on. The rear overhead dome, or the passenger dome LED, is the easiest to get access to. We'll be using the fork-shaped tool, and from each corner, we'll be pushing in, prying loose each clip to get access to the cover. Once you have that cover off, you'll see it's only one Festoon bulb that we'll be replacing. You can use the pointed wedge tool to help you get access to that bulb. Just push back on the metal bracket that's holding the bulb in place and use that pointed wedge tool to force the bulb out. Once you have it out, it's simply a matter of replacing it with the new LED and checking for polarity to make sure it turns on. If it doesn't work, make sure that you are reversing the bulb 180 degrees to reverse that polarity, reinsert the bulb, and try it again. Once you have everything secure and you know everything works properly, go ahead and put that clear lens cover back in place and force it in on each corner and wait to hear for that click sound to let you know that it's secure. There are two courtesy door lights on the Lexus RX, one on the front driver's side and one on the front passenger side. You will want to use the flat end of the serrated knife tool to get in between the clear lens of the housing and the door panel itself to pry it loose. On one side, there is a wire connector that you can remove while working on this bulb to get it to turn off with the door open. You can then use the pointed wedge tool to pry in between the metal parts that are holding that bulb in place to push it out without having to use your hands while the bulb is hot. Now that you have that removed, you can insert the new wedge-shaped LED into place and then reconnect power to verify whether or not the bulb works. If it doesn't, you can reverse that bulb polarity 180 degrees and test the light again to make sure it works. In addition, If you're having trouble getting the light to turn on, take a look at the wire leads that are on that bulb to make sure that they're spread evenly to contact the metal surface. That should be it. The trunk light on the RX is a little bit similar to the courtesy doors. You'll be using the flat end of the serrated knife tool to wedge out the bulb. As you can see, it's only going to work from one side where that 12-volt power adapter is. You will want to remove the wire connector, giving power to the assembly just for the installation purposes. There is a gray plastic cover that's covering the bulb. You want to use any of the tools that you have in the kit to disconnect this cover to get you access to the bulb. There is a small clip on each side that's holding it in place. You really only need to remove 2 of them on one side, and then you can remove the cover. The bulb is just a small festoon bulb that we can remove just like any other bulb in this installation, and you'll be replacing it with the festoon style LED from Precision LED. Again, like the other installations, just make sure to test the polarity of that bulb before you go ahead and put everything back together to make sure that it works, and then pop the cover back in place. There is a third trunk light that is on the rear of the trunk door that we'll need to get access to install. This also is how we're going to access the license plate LEDs as well. You need to remove the rear panel, the plastic panel on the inside of the door. And to do that, we're going to be using the fork shape tool to work our way around the edge and pop each of the clips holding it in place. Once you've worked your way around and are trying to remove the panel, there is a wire that's connecting power to the third trunk light that is the same installation method as the one shown previous. Once you have that installed, we're going to move our way over to the license plate lights. It is difficult to see, but behind the central metal bracket that you see here in the video, you will find twist to lock connectors that are holding those license plate bulbs in place. You're going to turn these wire connectors counterclockwise to remove them from the socket and just replace them with the LEDs and then put them back. Obviously, you'll want to check the polarity before you reassemble the entire interior trim just to make sure that everything works correctly and you don't have to do the work twice. It will take some effort and you will want to use a lot of pressure to get these clips back in place. They are reusable, so don't worry if you have to use a lot of force to remove them. They will go back into place without a problem. That's all there is, folks. That completes the LED interior installation for the Lexus RX, year models 2003 through 2009. Please, if you have questions, you can reach us at help@precisionled.com, or you can visit us online at www.precisionled.com/contact. All the products you've seen today in this video are available at the website, so certainly take a look at the description links below to find the products you're interested in. Thank you very much. You have a good day.